YouTube, PGZ36 here, and we're back because we are going to be doing another video game review, and this one is gonna be one of my favorite ones because it's a game that I've been playing since I was a little kid, and that game is Sega's Classic Collection. Without further ado, let's get reviewed. But anyway, Sega's Classic Collection. A simple name and a classic of games. Sega's Classic Collection was made by Sega and was released for the PS2 and for the PSP in November 7, 2006, and consists of 10 different games: Alien Syndrome, Columns, Fantasy Zone, Golden Axe, Monaco GP, Outrun, Space Harrier, Tant R, Bonanza Bros, and Virtual Racing. And they're all completely different in their own gameplay, style, and graphics. Okay, well, except for Monaco GP, Outrun, and Virtual Racing, but you all know what I mean. But yeah, we're gonna be breaking down these games one by one, and let's start off with Alien Syndrome. So starting off, we got Alien Syndrome, and I gotta say, this is honestly one of my least favorite games to play. Alien Syndrome, released by Sega in 1986 in arcades, and then later ported to many home versions, is basically a standby shooter. Well, not standby, but a point-and shooter. Basically, one of those shooters back in the arcades when they weren't really like all first person, where you basically just point the analog in the direction, and you also use like another analog to point the gun, and it fires in the exact way it goes, and it shoots the weapon. So yeah, that's basically the controls. And the controls for that it's just okay. I mean, it's not the best, but it definitely is better than some other controls. But yeah, basically what you do is you're fighting off against an alien race. And basically you just gotta go in, shoot down aliens, stop invasion from happening, and save humanity. You know, it's your typical alien game. Just go, stop aliens, save the world. But gameplay is can be very addictive. Basically what you do is you play as two commanding leaders, or just alien fighters. And you gotta fight off a bunch of aliens using like their super gun or whatever weapons, and each time you complete a full level and save all the humans, that that's also part of the main game. You gotta save a bunch of humans in order to proceed. But once you do get all the humans and beat a bunch of aliens, you can progress to the main boss, and they're all completely different. Like, some you'll have like a bunch of worms, some you'll have like one giant alien mutating, and sometimes you just have random stuff. But who cares anyway? It's basically a fantasy zone where nothing makes sense, so it's expected of that. Another thing that they added in this game is other uses of weapons. You got like a flamethrower, like an add-on grenade launcher, you got like a laser type, and much more. And they can be very effective against all enemies. I don't know if they're all like different in damage and stuff, but so far as I've played it, that's never been really most of a problem. And you gotta hurry up and take out all these aliens and get rid of all the bosses and save the humans too. Because there's a time limit you have to worry about, because you planted a bomb in each alien base, and you only got like a certain amount of minutes to defeat all aliens and bosses and save all humans. Because let me tell you, once you defeat all of them, the ship basically just goes boom. You know what I mean? It blows up. You have a bomb and it blows up, okay? Is that really that hard to see? I don't know, maybe I'm just pushing it too hard. But anyway, let me tell you something. The graphics for the 3D update is definitely a good addition. I like they went like a completely darkened, like creepy atmosphere, and it really works well with the game because it basically like fits it in like you're a soldier fighting off scary aliens in outer space. So you gotta be like very careful, very focused, and very prepared, and that really shows with the graphics. And let me tell you, let me talk about the soundtrack. The soundtrack just puts an icing on the cake. It is probably one of the most scariest, one of the most creepiest and atmospheric soundtracks ever. It's like a deep, creepy atmosphere with a scary feeling of like what is even gonna happen. It's really good, and I definitely check it out. Recommend checking it out, especially like with the boss music. It has that too, but it has like a more of a tense feeling. Like you're so close, you just gotta finish it, and just gotta finish off the boss and just blow this place to kingdom come. But you all know what I mean. So overall, Alien Syndrome is a really good game, but there's definitely better ones that I would recommend playing. But if you played it in the arcades and want to check out a 3D version, I'd check it out. But we're moving on now. Next up, we got Columns, released in arcades in 1989 and then ported to multiple home copies and versions. It's basically a puzzle game, a simple puzzle game too. Well, not really as best as Tetris. It really is a really fun game. Basically, what you do is you have 3 blocks matched in a different type of way. You, like, have one different shape, color, and size, all in a straight line. You have to make sure they all hit the bottom. However, you have to actually match the. I can't speak, can I? You gotta basically match a certain amount of color jewels together, because if you do, they'll actually break apart and make shorter jewels. Basically, obviously, the objective of the game is to basically break all the jewels and basically make sure you don't reach the top. If you don't get all the columns down, or get the jewels down, they can add up very quickly. And they all can appear in different ways. Sometimes they'll have like 2 matching and 1, and like sometimes they'll just be completely different altogether. But yeah, and as you keep laying more jewels down, the speed and the difficulty increases. Well, the reaction time to place these jewels shrink. But yeah, you gotta basically hurry up, because you don't want to get to the top. Because if you do, you'll get a game over. Not only that, but it basically just like destroys all the jewels. Just basically like crushes them all, and just gives you a game over. In this version, however, basically what happens is when you game over, the jewels basically just fall down. Like it just does a tower and just falls. So, which is a pretty nice touch. Though, I still prefer the one where it just goes up and it just destroys them. It's really funny. But yeah. However, in this version, it also has spinning 3D jewels, which is also a nice touch, I think. Another thing too that is cool with this version, that you can also play you can also play the original graphics of the you can play the original graphics way of basically the arcade and the Genesis version. Both of them are basically the same thing, so yeah, the Genesis and the arcade are basically the same thing. So yeah, there's not really much difference, but it has it all. Sound, graphics, controls, basically the same thing, and animation too. So yeah, other than that, there's not really much. Soundtrack is also pretty cool. It has like a simple, like, puzzle-like tone to give you like a feeling of like, ooh, I gotta get rid of these blocks fast, otherwise it's not gonna work out. Ooh, and let me tell you, it definitely fits well with the gameplay too. Yeah, and although it's not as good as the original, there is an option to play that in the original version. In the classic version, when you play that one, it plays the original soundtrack. In that original one, I think it's a bit more creepier than this one. Probably because it has a bit more of a feel of like, okay, we gotta like buckle down, we gotta get our stuff together, we gotta get rid of these blocks. But you all know what I mean. Basically, it's just a creepier version. Well, more fun, but for me, it's more creepy. It could be different in your opinion, but in my opinion, I'm going with creepy. So, yeah, there's also modes you could play on this. You could play endless mode, which has you play endless amount of columns until you basically game over. There is there's versus mode where you play versus 2-player against each other. And there's also versus CPU, where you fight against a computer. Well, it can be very fun. The computer is just basically like a pro at it. I don't know if there's a difficulty settings to turn off the difficulty of the CPU, because the CPU just kicks your butt. And I've played this so many times, and no matter how many times I've played it, it just gets annoying every time. Because the CPU always ends up beating you. But, yeah, it's still pretty fun, too. And after you complete an event of columns, you can basically go back to the menu and see like your score, and see like a bag of columns fall out. I'm not really sure if that's anything much, but I find it a really cool detail. So yeah, columns, definitely good puzzle game. Not as good Tetris, but definitely check it out if you like puzzle game. Also check it out if you really want to just have a normal fun time, because it's fun. And next up here, we got one of my favorites, Fantasy Zone, which is basically, honestly, in my opinion, one of the best single-player arcade home console ports ever. And this game is centered around a familiar spaceship, well, not familiar, a spaceship character named Opa Opa, where he travels to a bunch of different galaxies and planets and stops the evil enemies from taking over the universe. You know, is that another game? Just simple, bad guys are trying to take over, you gotta go in and stop them. But this game is really fun. Here is actually not really like a beat 'em up or a puzzle, but actually a shoot 'em up. Basically what you do is you fly around and you have two weapons. You have lasers and you have bombs to use, and you gotta shoot down basically all the enemies and the main like ship holders that contain the ship. Once they're all destroyed, a boss will appear. Before we get to the bosses, there's also the ships that you destroy. They're basically like a cargo ship, where you gotta like takes like a certain amount to defeat, you know, where they change color and then they just die. And while that, you also gotta be careful, because while you're trying to stop them, you got a bunch of enemies to worry about. And let me tell ya, this game got really creative with fantasy characters. You got like weird like bubble like alive creatures. You got like certain like what was that? Like what are those like giant X-scissor aliens? Like what is that? And what are those? What is that? What is everything? Like did you like just go to like some weird gay planet? Not game, not gay. I didn't say gay. Game. Yeah, game. Did you go like to like some weird game planet where just like everything's just what the heck? Well, that's not really much of a difference anyway. It's what you expect. It's a fantasy game where nothing's supposed to make sense anyway. So you're basically expected to look like this. But yeah, you gotta be careful because the enemies, woo-wee, they will not spare you. They can come sometimes just little groups, and sometimes they can just come in all at once and can definitely wreak havoc on you. Controls are really nice. They're easy to use. Moving around feels nice, and the blast and the shooting and the bombing is pretty cool. Also got to mention during the game, there's also a shop balloon you can use. Basically, by hitting this balloon, you basically can select a certain amount of items and weapons to use. Items and weapons that can really help you out with the games. You get like a certain type of laser, you have like twin bombs, a mega bomb, a wave bomb, and sometimes even an extra life. And while they are limited, they really are fun to use. I definitely recommend getting some from the item shop, especially the twin bombs for the big ships, because they can really help you out with that. But yeah, basically after all that, once you get done with all the battleships that you fight against, you basically come against a mega big boy or a mega spaceship. In other words, a boss battle. And they're all different too. You can face like a giant tree ship, you can face an hourglass, you can face like a sandstone ship. You can face like a group of like an alien with a bunch of wave patterns and stuff, and so much more. They're all completely different, but they all have a certain pattern to get used to. So yeah, you definitely got to get used to the pattern, because if you don't buckle down and get the pattern going, they can really mess you up. Oh, I gotta mention too, every time you get hit, it's a one-hit death. Yep, you die, you respawn, you get hit once, you die. And if you're in the story mode, then if you get hit once, you'll just spawn back to where you were about to start. Like, you'll either start from the beginning, or you'll start when the boss battles again. Except if you're playing in challenger mode. There you just respawn back to the game at the beginning of the level, which is really annoying and very tedious because you worked so hard trying to get all the way to the top, and when that happens, it can be really annoying. But yeah, fight all the bosses, beat enemies, and stop evil. What a simple game, but simply fun. And there's also other modes too. There is challenger mode, which is basically challenger is basically you just go in and you just select a certain level and then you start the game. You know what I mean. It's basically like your free-for-all. Just go in, select your levels, and basically just retry the maps that you played before, but now try to see if you can outdo it. Another options they have another option they have for fun is the arcade mode. Basically, it's like the normal version, but it's just the arcade version, which is nice, though not really much of a difference. While it isn't single player, it is single player, it still is a nice addition to the series. There's also, if you go in challenger mode, there's a place called Soulfire, which is basically just boss battle. So yeah, you can fight all the bosses from the game too. And I gotta say, for graphics, it definitely works good. It actually works really well at 3D too, because in the arcade version it looks like a lot 2D, but it's also 3D. But here it's actually completely 3D. Well, not entirely. Basically, after you complete a boss, you'll go into like a 3D like zone where the boss shoots out a bunch of coins and basically collect all the coins and basically just you basically collect all the coins and then watch the boss explode, which is really fun. I'm not gonna lie. And the music, whoo-wee, that music slaps. Especially the boss music. The boss music can be really intense and fun. So definitely listen to that on the soundtrack if you want some good music. And each level has their own different type of music too, which is it can be like a thunder type, or sometimes it could just be like a straight up like crazy theme. But yeah, what I'm getting is that they're all different themes and they're all different in their own ways. But yeah, definitely listen to the soundtrack because it's really fun. Yeah, especially boss. Like I said, boss music is dope. But yeah, I gotta say, this is absolutely a game you should check out. It's really fun. Even if you've played it before and played in arcades, I recommend you check it out because it's really fun. Fantasy Zone, definitely worth one playing.